Hey everybody, what we're going to do is make a vertical discontinuity removal management dashboard in ArcGIS based on some of the other maps that we made in previous tutorials. What's cool about this is you'll be able to select an area and then get all the trip hazards, so the impact of removing those trip hazards, and then all the addresses and images associated with those trip hazards that you can export as a CSV all through this dashboard in ArcGIS, and hopefully in less than 10 minutes we will see. So what we will do is we will go to the vertical discontinuity web map that we made in previous tutorials. Look around for those if you don't have it. We'll open it, and we've got this web map with all that useful information we put together from previous tutorials, and we're going to go ahead and make a dashboard. So click over here, there should be create map, and then we're just going to jump into a dashboard. We're going to call it recorded demo vertical continuity dashboard, and we're going to create that dashboard. I will get this out of your way. Alright, so we have this dashboard with our web map, so it's a good start. First thing we're going to do is we're going to click this plus sign, and we'll make an indicator. So this first indicator is going to be a count of trip hazards. So we're going to use our vertical discontinuities layer. So click that, and it automatically just jumps to count. So this is how many trip hazards are in that layer, which is great. That's a good start. So there's not a lot of extra stuff we need to do here. I'm just going to go to the indicator. I'm at the bottom of it and say, I'm just going to add this so we know what it is. So you can call them whatever you want. So wow, now we know how many vertical discontinuities are in there. That's pretty cool. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make it selectable. So you can select an area and figure out how many. So go to these three dots, then settings on your map, and then go to layer actions, and then scroll to the bottom, and we're going to add additional selection tools. No, we're not. First, we're going to go to this vertical discontinuities layer and click filter, and then that indicator that we just made, we probably should have named it, but we'll just go ahead and turn it on. So now when you select on the web map, it will update the indicator that we made, which is great. Now we're going to scroll to the bottom and enable these tools. So you can use a rectangle, lasso, or a circle to select multiple trip hazards. If you don't have this turned on, you're only allowed to click one at a time, and that's not any good. And then another thing we'll do just generally to make our map better is we'll go to settings and we'll turn on a bunch of these tools. So the legend is a good one, layer visibility important, base map switcher, and we'll throw zoom in and out in there just for fun. So now we have all these widgets on our web map, so we can turn on and off layers, all that good stuff. And we have our selection tools over here. So I just turned on our rectangle selection tool. I'm like, how many trip hazards are here? Whoa, there's 28. That's good to know. So you can switch between different tools here, do like a lasso sort of deal. So yeah, we have this interactive experience here. That's pretty cool. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add another, let's put it next to it. We're going to add another indicator. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the vertical discontinuity impact layer, and we're going to do an average of the accessibility grade. And then we'll call this access grade, and then we're going to put a out of 5 here, so it's a little more readable, and then put current. So this is like as we stand without doing anything. So this is, it's not linked to the map yet, so it's the whole deal. So for this whole map, the average grade is 3.7 out of 5, which is pretty good. So shout out to Bellevue for having pretty good sidewalks. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go through that same process, and we're going to go to layer actions, vertical discontinuity impact, filter, and then our second indicator that we just made, we'll turn that on. So what we can do now is if we just look at our vertical discontinuity impact layer, we can go and find the current accessibility grade for all these areas. So it's like a 3.6 out of 5 there. Not terrible. Not terrible at all. So you can go and goof around with that. See if we can do this. 3.8. Pretty good. Pretty good. But what's not good is we have all these locations where there's trip hazards, and then our impact layer, which is set by width. So where we have these wide sidewalks, those are places where we would actually improve the accessibility grade by removing the trip hazards. That's not always the case. Sometimes you have severely deteriorated sidewalks, and if you remove the trip hazards, you still can't get a wheelchair through there. But these are places where it would be easier to get through if you remove the trip hazards. So that would be a good thing for us to do. So let's go and try to quantify what the accessibility grade for a region would be after we removed the trip hazards. So we're going to go through the same process. We're going to plus sign. We'll put it on the side here. Make another indicator. Vertical discontinuity impact. We'll go to average. And then we're going to use the field VD fix. So that stands for vertical discontinuity fix. So what would the grade be if we fixed the vertical discontinuities? And then we will go to indicator, and we will say after removal. And then we'll do the out of 5, and then what is access grade. Cool. So next thing we're going to do is we'll go to, it kind of averages out because they've got relatively good sidewalk. They end up being the same before and after when you look at the whole project. So let's make it where we can select certain areas. So we'll go to layer actions, and then go back to vertical discontinuity impacts, filter, and we should have 2 now that are, this icon indicates that, these are actually linked here. So hit done, and then now we'll make our map big again. Let's test this out. Let's see. These look like areas where there's a big impact. We'll turn on vertical discontinuities too. Whoa, there's 11. If we remove 11 trip hazards here, the vertical discontinuities, or the access grade, goes up from 3.8 to a 4.1. Pretty notable. And say if we wanted to talk about the impact, in this area, there are 157 people with one type of disability only, and there's 263 people that have 2 or more types of disabilities. Seems like we should invest in removing these trip hazards. That would be a good thing for us to do. So yeah, that allows you to do some interesting analysis for your transition plan, or working on a grant, or whatever you want to do. Last thing we're going to do is we're going to add one more element, and this is going to be a table. So we're going to link that table to vertical discontinuities, and the fields I think that would be most interesting is, oh no, I really don't want to re-record this whole thing. We're going to pause. I'll be back. All right, I take it back. The field is actually in here. I just didn't see it. All right, so we want the address field, and then we want, actually we have to go to features, add field. So this allows us to have multiple fields. We will do address that we added in a previous demo walkthrough, and we will add the cropped media. So that'll be an image from the top of these locations. And you can add any other fields if you want, but this will be a good basic one to get us started. And then go to done. So now we have this table. We'll move it around later. But real quick, we'll just go back through that same little workflow of layer actions. And then we want this link to vertical discontinuities. And then we will turn that on for the table. And now we're good. So we'll do a little maneuvering here and see if we can get this to look nice. Didn't work. All right, well. All right, you get the idea. Well, you're going to have to finagle with it to get the things to work. It's possible, I promise. But pretty much, if you select an area, all these will update, including this table. And then you can export that table as a CSV. So that's a quick run through. Sorry for the pause in the middle. You're probably going to want to, well, I guess if you're here, you've seen it already. But you can goof around with this, add in other data sets to your web map, and then reference them here. And this should allow you to make trip hazard programs. But if you want an easier way to do it, you can always use our implement package that will be demoed in another video. Thanks for your time. Sorry this video took so long.